Ambassador Ga, welcome to Atlanta. I understand this is your second trip to Atlanta.
Yes.
You were here in June of 2007.
That's right, yes.
For Independence Day.
That's correct.
And you're back today with the Filipino community from throughout the state of Georgia.
That's right. I'm here to attend the induction of officers of the Philippine American Chamber of Commerce of Georgia.
Since you're in Washington most of the time and are following American politics, do you think that our current election is being followed fairly closely in the Philippines?
I would think so. We have CNN coverage in the Philippines. We have direct TV coverage in the Philippines, and people are very much interested in what's happening here in the United States because of our shared history and our shared values on democracy and freedom.
During our election nights, do people watch? Do they watch the process?
Well, yes. Of course, not all of them would be interested in the entire process, but a good number would be very much interested
in U.S.-Philippine relationships.
That's right. Yes.
How do you characterize the relations between the United States and the Philippines at the moment?
I would say it's strong and dynamic. We have a long history of ties with the United States, both culturally and in the areas of defense and security cooperation. Of course, we have also a strong economic link with the United States.
Trade is going to be an important part of the election in terms of the content that the candidates will be debating. And it's my understanding that trade between the U.S. and the Philippines has been very active.
That's right.
Yes. Do you think that it's important for those relations to continue and that there be positive trade legislation in the United States?
I cannot come up with a prediction on possible legislations coming from your own Congress, but I do recognize the importance of continuing strong economic linkages between the two countries.
We know that the Philippines was one of the founding members of the ASEAN.
Yes.
Which has been has benefited from trade. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How the Philippines has benefited from being a member of the ASEAN?
Well, you have to recognize the fact that ASEAN is now composed of 10 countries with a population of about 550 million people. Intra-ASEAN trade alone amounts to about $1 trillion these days, and a lot of that is between the Philippines and the rest of the other member countries.
The United States has any number of bilateral free trade agreements, and part of this election process will focus on NAFTA and CAFTA. Do you think that these have been generally beneficial for the United States?
I can't make a judgment on that. It all depends on how the people look at the benefits coming from the CAFTA or the NAFTA. But I do believe that ASEAN, I can speak only for ASEAN, has benefited a lot from intra-ASEAN trade.
Do you
and
have
with the rest of the world, of course.
Special environmental and labor regulations in the ASEAN agreements?
Well, the ASEAN upholds all the principles as well as the policies coming out of the United Nations, the ILO and all that. And so even without those legislations, the ASEAN countries are already behaving in such a manner that their policies on the environment and in the field of labor are consistent with all the legislations as well as the policies of these international bodies.
The Philippines in the late 90s experienced a financial crisis, but it's been able to overcome that crisis. Could you tell us a little bit about how it did that?
The country, of course, has put in place certain fundamentals that have been attracting a lot of investors into the country. You have put in place consistent policies on corporate governance. We have seen to it that our infrastructures are up to par with world standards. We have been upgrading the skills of our workers. We have, as a matter of fact, come up with a policy that English should be one of the primary languages to be called, the so-called, to be the medium of instruction in the Philippines.
Have these measures helped with attracting foreign direct investment?
Yes. Just last year alone, we attracted big-ticket investors for Hanjin. You can mention Hanjin Corporation, a shipbuilding company, which from South Korea, which invested $1 billion in Subic, and is now putting up another facility in the south with the same amount. Marubeni Corporation brought in $3.4 billion. Some company, a consortium of companies from Great Britain put in about $1 billion, as well as a consortium of companies from New Zealand putting in $1 billion as well.
What sorts of companies from Georgia would you like to see investing in the Philippines?
We have right now we have a good number of Georgia-based companies doing business in the Philippines. Coca-Cola, Earthlink, Church Chicken is there, Bell South, AT&T, and a few other big companies. And yeah, it would be very, very attractive for them to invest in areas that the so-called business process outsourcing. The Philippines is second only to India insofar as that is concerned in Asia. You have companies here that are engaged in chemical, in the chemical industry, and it would be very, very useful also for them to, or beneficial for them to invest in the Philippines.
Because so many Filipinos live abroad, as in Georgia, your economy has benefited from remittances,
yes,
which apparently are growing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you continue? And do those remittances benefit the economy?
Yeah, well, as of last year, at the end of last year, we estimated that the remittances amounted to about $14 billion. And in a very direct sense, they have benefited our economy, especially in the area of real estate development. We have condominium units, for example, which have sold out as a result of investors coming from abroad. And of course, our retail industry has benefited a lot, as well as the tourism industry from these remittances. We have also received investments from them in some other areas.